What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. And today, for this Saturday's video, I am doing a mock draft. 7-round mock draft for my Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday's video was about the Eagles free agency. We had the Anthony Harris signing. We had Juju Smith-Schuster basically telling the Eagles to frig off. We had news that Adoree Jackson is going to meet with the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday. Today, I guess there's rumors that Philly could be looking and inquiring Nick Foles back, which don't really know how to feel about that one. But today's going to be a mock draft. More so that it's not me having to record a bunch of Madden today, because I really do want to put a lot of time into the new episode of NCAA, which will be coming out tomorrow, the next chapter for Tom Savage. But one thing, it's your classic Saturday morning, daydreaming. This is niche because I'm a soccer fan, but there's something called Arsenal Fan TV, which is incredibly popular. If you watch anything that's England Premiership, you probably know what they are. And I've always, when I do Eagles-only content on my C4 channel, I always feel like, I think there's a lot of people that in my community that are Eagle fans predominantly, because I do and have done Eagles content on my channel forever, like going on 6, 7, 8 years now. And there's people that kind of expect that from me. And then there's another side where it's like, man, if I could just maybe just keep this channel strictly Madden related and football video game related, and then have a second channel that's kind of like an Arsenal Fan TV, where it's a proven formula that's successful. It's a little bit different from the fact that Arsenal Fan TV, for an example, because that's something that I personally watch. Soccer's more global. There's a lot bigger audience than just focusing on the NFL. I do feel like there could be a potential market to make it an Eagles Fan TV. I definitely have to put my own spin on it. And every time I do an Eagles-specific video, I always kind of think, maybe I should make a second channel. And there's a lot of avenues that could go into doing that. I have to get in contact with my network because they'd have to approve a second channel and so on. And so it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just a Saturday morning and I'm just thinking out loud. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I have zero idea if this is ever going to amount to anything. I just figure I'd throw it out there, cast the line, and see what you guys think about it. But for right now, I have no other plans really outside of just continuing to put Eagle-specific content on the channel, mixed with Madden, mixed with general football content. So let's do this mock draft here for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a 7-round mock draft. We're using, it looks a little bit weird, but I just scaled the page so that everything fits in good once this draft starts. I'm using the Draft Network because they currently are the only mock draft machine that has the updated draft picks, has the comp picks in it. So let's go. And I will say that I have recorded probably 4 of these that I just haven't used. I've scrapped the videos and stuff like that. And in 3 of the 4, Ja'Marr Chase and Kyle Pitts were gone before Philly picked. And if you've paid attention to anything I've been saying about the draft on Twitter, you know that would be crushing for this mock draft. But that's the point of this mock draft. This mock draft is not watch C4, behind the scenes, get a good roll of a draft. No, this is going to be a live draft. It's going to have some curveballs, and we're going to try and build this team up as best we can. I will say, though, a change as we go through this: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Ja'Marr Chase, Peanut Sewell, and Rashawn Slater are gone. I will say I have been picking safety fairly high for the Philadelphia Eagles. The last mock draft, I'm always trying to target Javon Holland around, I'm thinking about 2nd round. I'm hoping he could be their 3rd round. Richie Grant is another guy that I'm okay. But now that we got Anthony Harris, I think going safety that early might not be in the best interest for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we are here at pick 6. Obviously, Ja'Marr Chase is my dream pick from this draft. Absolutely 100%. The last time I had a dream pick like this, that was realistically in reach for Philadelphia. It kind of, I'm not going to say it was DK Metcalf, because a lot of teams passed on DK Metcalf and no one really knew what it was, but everyone knew my thoughts in the 2nd round when I was absolutely screaming DK Metcalf had to be our 2nd round pick. But in terms of 1st round selections, I thought maybe there was a chance Christian McCaffrey could have been in play. Then he went, pick 8 or something like that to Carolina. But in terms of hitting on my dream pick, you have to go all the way to, 2012, 2013, when Philly traded out to get Fletcher Cox. When they got him, Fletcher Cox was my number 1 player that I wanted Philly to get, and they actually ended up getting him. So it's been a very, very long drought since Philadelphia has got my dream player with their 1st round pick. And a lot of that is due to the fact that Philly doesn't suck. for the most part. Since I've been a fan, Philly has not had great draft picks in terms of position. And like, we're constantly like in the teens. And in the teens, you're not going to get those guys that are like the fringe blue chip players, the guys that are going to make immediate impacts in the first round. I guess you look at last year, that was kind of CeeDee Lamb in a certain sense. But I knew for that one, Philly would have to trade up. There was no realistic chance that CeeDee Lamb would fall to the Philadelphia Eagles. Didn't think Dallas was going to pick him. But here at pick 6, Ja'Marr Chase is realistic. I could see, first 2 picks, he's not going. And then at 3, the Miami Dolphins just got Will Fuller. It's a 1-year deal. It's not a long-term play, but Will Fuller, it's one of those deals where if Will Fuller does show that deep threat downfield connection with Tua Tagovailoa, they're more than likely going to want to renegotiate a new deal and get Will Fuller long-term. But I think Will Fuller doesn't completely eliminate Miami going after wide receiver, but what I do think it does is that it makes it a lot easier for Miami to get Sewell at tackle. Because you get Sewell, he can be left or right tackle. I assume you want to make him your left tackle. You kick Austin Jackson to right tackle. You kick Robert Hunt into right guard or left guard. Solomon Kindley would be the other guard. And then I think they've been trying to bring in a center. I don't know if they've officially signed a center yet. That's another spot that they can continue to look at in the second round, third round, for the Miami Dolphins. This is not a Dolphins video, but I mean, you look at the Dolphins, Creed Humphrey in the second round for sure. You can get Landon Dickinson in the second round. You can look at Josh Myers, third round. There's options at center for the Miami Dolphins if they don't find their center in free agency, or if they haven't. I'm having a brain fart and they've signed someone I can't remember. Point being, this Ja'Marr Chase selection is my dream. It's still very much in play for Philadelphia, but there's going to be two hoops. It's Miami, who I do think with the Will Fuller signing is probably leaning to not getting Ja'Marr Chase, but they still absolutely could get him. And I think the Bengals could surprisingly go after Ja'Marr Chase. A lot of people say the Bengals could be in play. For me and my money, it would be shocking if they don't go offensive line because, it's pretty bad. It's still not great, right? They just paid in like Riley Reif. Like that guy was a trash can for the Minnesota Vikings, and they're acting like, oh, they got Riley Reif, they don't need to go tackle. If Sewell or Rashawn Slater are there at 5, and you're like, no, we got Riley Reif. Like that's a bigger stretch to assume they're not going to go tackle than it is Will Fuller to the Dolphins and them excluding wide receiver. Either way, Chase is not there, even though I hope and pray he is there at pick 6. The last couple years, taking forever to make this pick. The last couple years, if you've been watching my live streams, I get this little nervous tick about what player Howie Roseman is going to draft that's going to drive me irate. Jalen Reagor last year. Andre Dillard 2 years before. A couple years before that, it was Derek Barnett. A couple years before that, it was Nelson Aguilar. Every year, there's that one guy that I'm like, you know what? They're probably going to end up picking this guy, and I'm going to lose my shit. I could not have foreseen Justin Fields. This year, though, the one guy that I think Philadelphia could pick at 6, and quarterback would be annoying, but if we get Trey Lance, if we get Justin Fields, I'm not going to be negative Nancy out the gate. I'll say, all right, let's buy in, because I'm not sold 100% on Jalen Hurts. I think he absolutely deserves an opportunity to prove that he can be something for us here in Philadelphia, but if we make a decision to go quarterback at 6, that means people that have seen him all the time know that he's, he is what he is. He's kind of I don't want to say a role player because that's weird because, you draft him in the second round. You don't draft a quarterback in the second round to really give up on him after 1 year, but it's Philly. It's just really weird. Point being, Lance and Fields, if Philly gets him at 6, I'll be like, especially if Ja'Marr Chase or someone like that's still there. But the guy that I just keep thinking that Philly's going to get at 6 that will irate me is Mac Jones. And I hope it doesn't happen, but there's a Howie Roseman, smartest guy in the room pick right there. Mac Jones. He's like, oh, well, he fits our scheme. So I'm just going to putting that out there right now. We're at 9 minutes in. I've yet to make a pick. Trust me, it's going to go a lot faster. So Philly at 6. Looking at the board, for me, it's 2 guys. We're not trading or anything like that. It's between Kyle Pitts and Jalen Waddle. I'm going to go not Jalen Waddle because the things that Jalen Waddle can do, which I think he is obviously a better player than Jalen Reagor, but again, it comes back to, are you going to give up on a pick after 1 year? What Jalen Reagor, if he develops, if he starts to look like the player that Philly valued him as a first rounder, he's going to do the things for our offense that Jalen Waddle would do. So it kind of seems like overlapping a little bit. You know what we did lose? We did lose an Alshon Jeffrey. We did lose a Zach Ertz. We lose a guy that's big-bodied, that can win the jump balls, that can win on the outside. So for me at pick 6, I am going with Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts, people are going to be, if you're a casual, you're like, well, we don't need a tight end. We got Dallas Goedert. Kyle Pitts is more of a wide receiver than he is a tight end. He, for the most part, like I honestly, like in line, lining up on the line, don't think, I'm a Gator fan. I watched every Gators game. I don't think he lined up in line. Like, I would say less than like 30% of the time he's either in the slot or he's lining up out wide. He is like Mike Evans is my pro comp for him. And if you told me right now, looking at those wide receivers, we can have Jalen Waddle or Mike Evans, given the landscape of the Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver core, give me Mike Evans. And he's a local kid, easy to cheer for. Obviously, Gator bias aside. Still, you know, there is a pretty big drop off for me when it comes to like, I want Jamar Chase at 6. And if he's not there, who are my second options? It's not particularly close. It's like Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith kind of thing, Patrick Surtain. But I think in that spot, Philly can't go wrong with either wide receivers. But for this mock draft, we'll go Kyle Pitts. So at pick 37, this is so annoying because at pick 37, you look at this, and it's within the bubble of picks. Owosu Koroma would be unreal. Eric Stokes is probably, if we're going in the realm of dream picks, I think Eric Stokes would be my guy at 37. I've been an Eric Stokes fan for a while. I liked him at Georgia. Now he's running those 4.2s and shit like that at his pro days. It looks real good. Zaven Collins going 2 picks for the Eagles. When we know how desperate wide receiver is. And then again, you look at 37, Kadarius Toney's there. You know, Howie Roseman is a Florida Gator alum. If he wants to double dip and go wide receiver again here at 37, by all means. But while we look at this team needs, that you might as well cross off pretty much both of those because you're getting both those in Kyle Pitts. So secondary needs for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think on the defensive line, there's some good value here. Right now, Davion Nixon would be unreal for the Philadelphia Eagles to add to that D-line rotation. The point just being is like, we don't know how heavy the rotation is going to be. Under Jim Schwartz, we had Fletcher Cox, Malik Jackson, Javon Hargrave, and all these guys were constantly rotating. I don't know if it's going to be as heavy, so I don't know how much we're going to have to value depth on our defensive line as opposed when, for sure, Jim Schwartz is here. You need to have like 4 starting caliber defensive tackles at all times. But Nixon looks pretty good. Owe, not really a scheme fit, though. Insane athlete as an edge rusher. I don't know if he could play in a 4-3. I don't know if he's strong enough. That's an interesting one, too, because, you know, you want to look for similarities. A lot of things are unknown right now with the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of coaching staff, right? And you look at Owe, I kind of get like Justin Houston vibes. And Justin Houston had a role in the Colts defense. And someone like Owe, who's classified as a 3-4 outside linebacker, I mean, they could be successful. And I think outside of that, I think Boogie Basham could also be very much in play here for pick 37. You look at the linebackers that are available. Obviously, I'm a huge Jabril Cox fan. But I don't know. I almost feel like 37 could be a little rich for him. Then you look into the secondary, not... You know, this is where a previous mock draft, I'd go Javon Holland and not even think twice about it. But... I think the best value is Davion Nixon, but then it's just like when you look at Philadelphia, our most expensive player, probably our still best player on the defensive side of the ball is Fletcher Cox, and then you just spent big money last offseason on your D tackle too. So are you going to spend big money, high investment, second round pick on your D tackle 3, or is there got to be other positions that you can get better? And I think for argument's sake. Man. Still available. Kadarius Toney. I don't like the board here, fellas. Like, corner, right? So like Kelvin Joseph would work in our scheme. Asante Samuel would work in our scheme. Melifon would work. They're just not, like, this is like a trade back. If I could potentially trade back. Just because as it stands, we need linebacker, and I am such a fan. The value is not great value. Like I'm honestly considering Kadarius Toney. Just saying, screw it, let's grab another wide receiver. Definitely don't have someone like Kadarius Toney on the roster. When is our next pick? Really doesn't pick for. This is the worst mock draft of all time. I'm so indecisive. I'm taking it too seriously. Screw it. We'll go Jabril Cox. I think the best value there would have been away at edge rusher because Philadelphia at edge. We have aging Brandon Graham. We don't know what we have long-term in Derek Barnett. There's no extension that's been worked out. I mean, he's out. Yeah, these guys are going off the board. It's going to be this is a bad grouping because like oh, there goes Boogie Basham, right? There goes an edge rusher we would be laughing at. And you still look at the linebackers. Maybe Cox would have still been there. Moses still there at 57. Surratt is still there. Okay. Well, we're back. We're back live. That is actually a good roll of the dice because Melifonwu is a good fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we will get a corner here. The baby Melifonwu, not the same athlete as Obi, but he's really good. Tested well at his pro day. So you're looking at the fallout from that. I mean, Sean Wade would have been a good fit for Philly. Play him at slot. Jay Tufele would have been a guy that absolutely would have jumped over if he was still here at 84. Look at the big board. We still have... I read an interesting article the other day. And it was Ben Solak. And he was talking about the importance of blocking wide receivers in Philly's scheme. In just general in NFL, but in Philly's scheme, you desperately need it. Because Zach Pascal, Michael Pittman, they're blockers. And that's kind of what you want in Philly. And he highlighted one of my favorite players in this draft as a guy that's a very good blocking wide receiver, and that's Tylan Wallace. I like Tylan Wallace. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'll do that. I mean, there's other guys. Adebo makes a whole lot of sense, but you got Darius Slay. You now have Melifonwu. I don't know if we're getting 3 corners that quickly. Harris gives you a little bit of flexibility to not go safety. So at this spot, you have your corner. Right, you have a guy in Melifonwu. Like, ideally, you're not playing a rookie corner to start, but hopefully we land like an Xavier Rhodes. Could be a Dory Jackson, something like that in free agency. So Melifonwu can be groomed to be that corner outside too. Eventually, Jabril Cox will complement Alex Singleton right away. So then you're at that third pick. It's like, all right, that's almost best player available between a pass catcher, between maybe a dynamic player out the backfield. Which Demetric Felton was there. He would have been interesting. You could have looked at D-line, addressing the defensive line as well, offensive line. But I really am a big fan of Tylan Wallace, and I think that's a great fit for Philadelphia. So from here, we are now in the 5th round, where we have 2 picks, kind of close, 150, 156. Looking on the offensive line, not much. Looking at the defensive line, not great. I mean, I'm a Gators fan. Slayton, a little bit overrated for us last season. I honestly, this is probably one of the biggest discrepancies, I think, for D-tackle. Slayton is so high, but Kyrie Campbell was the better of the players. Like when Kyrie Campbell came back, our defense transformed from the worst defense in college football to at least a bottom 15 defense in college football. This is an interesting spot to be for Philadelphia. I think someone like Vincent is a solid option for a slot. But I don't know how well. You got to tackle, man. You got to tackle. And I don't think tackling is a top, a top asset of something like that. He's pretty small. So I think, honestly, when you look at this, needs for Philadelphia, we brought in Anthony Harris, but we still don't have that box safety, the safety that can get up the line of scrimmage, that can be creative, that can move around. So I think in the 5th round, I'm going to start with Caden Stearns. I think Caden Stearns, good athlete. I think he said he ran the pro day numbers that we're getting this year are, in quotation, it was like a 4.5, and he's a stronger run defender than he is in pass coverage. So he just kind of complements what we have in the safety room a little bit better. So we'll grab him at 150. 156. What do we got a quarterback here? Jamie Newman. Hey, whatever. I don't think this is the year that Philly's going to be going after quarterback. I'll say that. I honestly think at this spot, to get that guy to the offense that Philadelphia needs, that could potentially be that Naheem Hines, I think you're probably getting Javian Hawkins as the closest thing to that. He's a burner. He's very, very fast. Change of pace. Already would kind of complement Miles Sanders and Boston Scott a little bit. I think he's a better receiver than those guys right now in their current form. But more so, he's just a guy that you can kind of use as more of a utility guy. And then have Miles Sanders, have Boston Scott, maybe look for a power option for your 3 running backs. So we'll go there. All right. So here's our board so far. We got Kyle Pitts, Jabril Cox, Melifonwu, Tylan Wallace, Caden Stearns, Javian Hawkins. So I think the line of scrimmage could be where we now want to invest our picks. Maybe even a tight end at this point. You're looking at the available tackles. Royce Newman is interesting. He can kind of play a lot of positions. Good value pick, but he's 253 on the rankings. Not to put too much stock in it, but he's kind of a guy you get a little bit later. Drake Jackson, interesting center. Kind of fits the scheme, even though I do think, and personally I like Jimmy Morrissey a little bit more as a center prospect. So again, kind of kick that can down the road. See who's still there, maybe in the 7th round or a little bit later. Defensive line, it's still not great. I mean, I like some of these edge rushers that are here, but most of these guys are 3-4 as opposed to 4-3. Kando is probably at 6'7", 247, the most likely to be a 4-3 defensive end. Like, I like Chris Rumph a lot, but look at that, man. He's 6'3", 225 pounds. How is that going to fit? I'm losing my voice here a little bit. How is that going to fit in Philadelphia? I don't know. We don't run a hybrid front like the Dolphins or anything like that. Feels like a little bit useless. Shaka Toney, another interesting guy, but he's a wide 9. This is more of a guy that... But you know what? That's kind of what Philly needs. That's what Philly has experimented with Gennard Avery. And you know what? We'll grab Shaka Toney here. I just feel like maybe not the best 4-3 scheme fit, but he's a guy that like you just bring in as a specialty pass rusher. I think he has the highest upside. At least Kando, you have this, with Kando, 6'7", you're more so going for the frame and hoping that he can kind of put it all together. I think Toney's a little bit more explosive. I did like the couple of Penn State games that I watched. He would flash on tape, was pretty consistent. I thought was actually something that I kept seeing. So we now have 3 picks pretty close, 4 picks generally pretty close, 224, 225, 234, and 240. So let's go look here at what do we got. I'm going to first grab Jimmy Morrissey at center. And then I'm going to go right back to the secondary. And I'm so disappointed that they posted his pro day numbers on Twitter and they showed all the scouts that were invited. And not one of those scouts was representing the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm going to get Robert Rochelle out of Central Arkansas. Height, weight, speed, outside corner. Absolutely the kind of guy that you want as a developmental corner 5, corner 4, something like that on the Eagles right now. Outside, he's good, man. Small school. I'm getting Jimmy Moreland vibes. And I was super high on Jimmy Moreland, and I now think, didn't he start last year for Washington? It's insane. So we're now, let's see, is Newman still there? We'll grab Royce Newman, versatile lineman. Play a lot of spots. That's the kind of guy you want as a depth guy. I'm going to grab Sean Byer as a depth tight end. A lot of people are thinking athletically he's going to test very well at the Iowa Pro Day. Didn't get a lot of snaps, kind of buried behind talent at Iowa. But in terms of day 3 tight ends, I think he has very high upside. And Philly's still going to be in the market for tight end 2, tight end 3. I mean, look at that tight end 2. We have Dallas Goedert. We just brought in Kyle Pitts, but again, I'm viewing him more as a wide receiver. So you still look at the tight end market. Trey Burton, Mo Alley Cox, Dan Arnold, bringing back Richard Rodgers. But even that, you're only going to bring one of those guys in a veteran. You might want a guy that's a pure tight end, and I think that could be Sean Byer way down here at the end of the draft. So there you go, fellas. That is my 7-round Eagles mock draft. We got Kyle Pitts at 6, Jabril Cox at 37. That's probably, in terms of value, like that's a reach for a guy that I really like. I think 37 for Jabril Cox, little rich, unless, LSU Pro Day, he comes in and at 6'4", 240, something like that, he runs, 4.5s, low 4.6 or something like that, then yeah, that could justify it. I love his tape. Loved his tape more at North Dakota State than LSU. Took him a little bit of time to get up to speed at LSU, but he's really just like, if you want an idea of what he is, he's like if Alex Singleton could cover. Kind of. Like, Alex Singleton last year showed some flashes as a blitzer. Can sideline the sideline just fine, but a little bit of exposed when he had to cover and drop back into coverage. Jabril Cox is just a better version of that. So I'm thinking, like, if I'm Philly and we can get Eric Wilson in free agency, we can have Eric Wilson, Alex Singleton, Jabril Cox, and Davion Taylor as, like, our 4 key linebackers. Could be a lot worse, and there's some upside to that group. We got Melifanu here, developmental outside corner, fits Jonathan Gainon's scheme. We got Tylan Wallace at wide receiver. I'm a big fan. On the best, not necessarily a pure burner, like you're not getting 4.2, low 4.3 speed, but you're getting a legit, not JJ Arthega Whiteside 4.49 on a Stanford Pro Day speed. You're getting legit probably 4.4 speed, like high 4.4 speed, deep threat, good route runner, can block, which is important for our scheme. That's another thing that kind of values Kyle Pitts as a receiver. He's gigantic. He's not the best blocking tight end, but if you group him as a wide receiver, he's one of the best blocking wide receivers in this draft. So we got Caden Stearns here to complement Anthony Harris, kind of be cover for, until Roddy McLeod's healthy or whatever's going to go on with Roddy McLeod there. More of a strong safety. We got Javian Hawkins, the speedy running back that can hopefully kind of be like the Naheem Hines for our offense. We got Shaka Toney as a rotational edge rusher to maybe be the Gennard Avery role. We got Jimmy Morrissey, depth center, to be groomed behind Jason Kelsey. We have Robert Rochelle as my favorite day 3 corner. Royce Newman can play guard, can play tackle. And then we just got an actual developmental tight end that we can put behind Dallas Goedert and whoever we bring in from free agency. Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. Let me know if you're an Eagle fan watching this, how you'd feel about maybe a Eagle-specific secondary channel in the comment section below. But that doesn't mean today, guys. I'm going to go play some Tom Savage NCAA so you guys can have that in your sub boxes tomorrow. So thank you for watching. And subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. Hit that like button if you enjoyed. Check out my Patreon for all of my draft content. Stuff will be slowly starting to creep over to my YouTube channel in April. But if you want early access, if you want, pretty much any opportunity to Q&A me about any players, the Patreon is the best spot to do that. We always have 100 Patreons. I'm shocked from the support that I've been getting from that. Very, very grateful. Very, very humbled. Thank you guys very much. If you watch this and you have supported that or you've supported it, even in the past, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Peace out.